3-minute, 30-second American English story, first person. I'm 30 years old, and a week ago, I asked my mom to run away with me. Growing up, I thought my parents had a normal marriage. My dad was strict and liked everything a certain way. Dinner had to be on time. The TV volume had to stay on the same number. Nobody talked back. My mom always stayed quiet. I never questioned it. Then one afternoon, I stopped by their house unexpectedly. As I walked down the hallway, I heard loud voices coming from their bedroom. Then I heard something slam into the wall. A second later, I heard my mom cry out. I froze. The bedroom door opened and my dad walked out like nothing had happened. He looked at me and calmly said, "Your mother's resting." Then he walked away. When I went into the room, my mom was sitting on the bed holding her arm. She smiled and said she was fine. But this time, I knew she wasn't. That night, she finally told me the truth. For years, my dad had been abusing her. He never hit her face because he didn't want anyone to notice. Instead, he'd grab her arms, shove her into walls, throw things, and leave bruises where no one could see them. She even told me that years ago, when I thought she'd fallen down the stairs and broken a rib, he had actually pushed her. She stayed because she believed it was better for me and my sister. She had no money of her own, no place to go. And she didn't want us to feel like we had to choose between our parents. But the moment I heard her cry that afternoon, I had already made my choice. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every childhood memory suddenly made sense. The broken dishes, the silence at dinner, the way mom stopped laughing whenever dad was around. The next morning, I packed 2 bags, one for me, one for my mom. As soon as my dad left for work, I looked at her and said, "We're leaving." She was terrified. She kept saying he'd be angry. She said he'd find us. She worried about my younger sister. But I told her, she's an adult. Right now, I'm getting my mom out of here. We left with 2 bags of clothes, her passport, her birth certificate, and $840 she'd secretly saved over 10 years by hiding grocery change inside a coffee tin. I drove 4 hours away and rented a small Airbnb. It wasn't fancy, but for the first time in years, it was peaceful. The first few nights were hard. My mom barely slept. Every little noise made her jump. She apologized for everything, for eating my food, for taking up space, even for crying. Meanwhile, my dad flooded my phone with messages. First he was furious, then he begged, then he promised he'd change. When none of that worked, he threatened to find us. I blocked his number. My sister called next. At first, she thought I was destroying the family. She said maybe mom was exaggerating. Then I told her everything. Everything I'd seen. Everything mom had finally confessed. She went completely silent. She whispered, "I didn't know. Neither did I." Until it was almost too late. Now my mom and I live together. I work from home while she slowly rebuilds her life. Some days are still difficult, but now she laughs without looking over her shoulder. She watches TV as loud as she wants. She sleeps through the night. And yesterday morning, she made breakfast. And for the very first time, she didn't apologize for anything. That's when I realized, sometimes rescuing someone doesn't mean saving their life. Sometimes, it means giving them the chance to finally live it.